to have a great presentation. If you take this out, you have it also. But I can do it for you from the paper, it's fine with me. It's in the last piece.
Oh.
The last piece we have, which says Global Trends. Page number 11, how to prepare a great presentation. In the meantime, when you're actually looking for that piece of paper, that sheet, first thing you need to do to have a great presentation is to have a short and nice and quick icebreaker. Yes? It's like, think about it. You come into the room, Adir is going to come into the room, you don't know the people who are sitting around you. What are you going to do? How are you going to break that ice? How are you going to smile, eye contact? Who are you? How are you doing? How was your day? What happened on the way? What's happening? Yes? They have to like you. You're coming here with a mission. Presentation guidelines. First of all, the pitch in a nutshell. Do you remember we talked about the pitch? The pitch.
You need to understand the icebreaker. Are there any examples, or that we just need to?
You have to think. I would like you to think about it. I will be more than glad to do with you next week a short review, for example, of one of the presentations of Steve Jobs, or some other tips about how to do it. But it just, hi, how are you doing? What's going on? How was your morning? Did you have your coffee? Do you see what we do when I come into the class? Usually when we start the morning, I ask you around, how are you doing? Yes? It's kind of like, okay, how's the juice going this morning? So, presentation guidelines, what you need to pay attention to. First of all, most important in my point of view, switch between number 2 and number 3. Number 1 and number 2. For me, body language is the most important thing in a presentation. Body language is how you stand, how you're doing what you're doing, if you're looking at me, if you're smiling at me, if you're comfortable with what you're doing, yeah? Okay? Second of all come the language skills. You remember I told you, I'm not going to pay attention to is it exactly the right tense, or what exactly and how exactly, or is it perfect English or not. For me, more important is how you say it. Okay? Afterwards, the value. That it's a nice one, it has a beginning, it has an ending. The presentation that you're giving us is making me say, wow, it's interesting. I learned something new. Thank you for sharing with me. It's great for me that you taught me something, okay? Guidelines are to make it understandable, make it clear. This is where I'm starting, this is my memo, yeah? This is what I'm going to talk about. Memorable. What is memorable? Make me remember, yeah? And to make it emotional. People connect on an emotional level. People connect on an emotional level. If you're standing stone-faced and you're telling me about something like this, yes, it can be the most amazing topic. But if you're talking to me like this, nobody will remember you. Nobody will want to understand what you're talking about. And I definitely don't like you, yes? There's no connection. Create the connection. Usually the mistakes we make with the presentation are fluency. Fluency. So, fluency. Lack of vocabulary or poor language. So do write that presentation. Do practice it. I want it to be, yeah, we want to, it's a professional thing. You are people on top of your game. Yeah? Accent, pronunciation, you all have it, you're good at it, it's not a problem. When you're not speaking clearly, you know when sometimes you're not sure about the word and you're kind of like swallowing half of it? Because you're kind of like embarrassed. Am I saying it right? Am I not saying it right? So you're kind of like, oh, okay. Clear, easily understandable, nice. Grammar mistake, don't really worry about it. One very important thing, thinking in Hebrew. Stop thinking in Hebrew. You are not on the level of thinking in Hebrew, okay? You're a way higher level. So even if you get stuck in the middle of the presentation, don't allow your mind to get back to, how do you say it in Hebrew? No, continue. No thinking in Hebrew anymore, all right? Tools and tips, how to get it done. After you have written your presentation, you start practicing your presentation. I call it the shower talk. What is the shower talk? Speaking out loud at home, alone, in front of the mirror, or in front of in any situation when you're actually acting it out. So first it's going to be just reading it out loud, and then it's going to be speaking it out loud, and then it's going to be practicing it in front of the mirror. And if you're really brave, you can even record yourself, put your iPhone in front of you and see yourself. That's very challenging. Okay? A lot of times you will be shocked, for better or worse. But it's strange, you know, to see yourself, to hear the mistakes you're making, or the way you look when you're speaking. Okay? So these are the levels. Vocabulary enrichment. What do I mean by vocabulary enrichment? Use those beautiful adjectives that we know. Yeah? Make it colorful. Make it shiny. Make it beautiful. The same sentence. Remember we talked about how to make it nice. And idioms. Idioms. Today we're going to start working on idioms. Those special expressions, those special terms that you can kind of like put it inside. So it's the same presentation can be flat, and the same presentation can be beautiful, sexy, interesting, because of the way you choose what you say. Last but not least, what you need to be a good public speaker: tell your story in a long-lasting impact. This is the emotional connection. Confidence, you have your presence, you own your power. Practice. People who do a TED Talk, they practice for 6 months.
Really?
6 months, ladies and gentlemen, 6 months, you have to know every single word. There's no one mistake in a TED Talk. Even when you think he's making a mistake, there is no mistake. Even the way, everything, down to the very last detail.
They make them prepare 6 months before?
6 months, and actually they work with you.
TED.
TED.
Okay.
Body language, we have talked about it. Very, very, very important. Slow, clear, yes, this is your toolbox. Effective communication skills. To sum it up, you are winners. Yeah, you're going to do it amazing. That's it. It's not a big deal. Think about the topic, stick to the guidelines, and it's going to be a wow. Yeah, the whole idea is the wow effect. Okay, any questions?
No.
No? Okay, so now we can get back to the idioms. Page number 6.
The global trends. Where are we?
We are back in where we started from with the management skills. No, you can
Okay, don't move,